Welcome back to my channel. If you follow our channel, you probably noticed that for the past 2 weeks we did not upload any new videos. This is because we went on traveling to southern France and southern Italy to visit artists, galleries and places, and we discovered this stunning Mediterranean medieval town called Bussana Vecchia. It's famous for the artists and artworks there, and because it is such a beautiful, stunning town and it's such a smart business idea, I would like to share this with you so you can see whether you like to work and live in an artist village, artist community, or if you would like to sell your art to tourists. Hopefully this project can inspire you. Make sure you stay until the end of the video where I'll be analyzing the pros and cons of living and working in an artist village like Bussana Vecchia. Before jumping into the video, I would like to say a special thank you to our YouTube subscribers. I have just reached 1,000 subscribers in the end of 2019, so thank you very much for your support. And I would like to say thank you to our supporters on Patreon. Without your support, we could not have gone so far, so thank you very much for your support. And if you like to support us, you can see there is a link in the description below and discover how to support us in the link. And now I would like to bring you to Bussana Vecchia. Bussana Vecchia means the old Bussana. Well, the name says it all. It's very historic indeed. It was a beautiful town in the Mediterranean, in a mountain right around the corner to San Remo, which is another touristic city. A lot of Monaco, southern France, and people from all over the world visit there in the summer because of the beauty, because of the mild Mediterranean weather. And Bussana Vecchia was once abandoned due to an earthquake in 1887. That's a long time ago. And then in the early 60s, it was repopulated by artists. In the 80s, it became very trendy and very touristic. Not to be surprised because it's such a beautiful place. People will eventually discover that. And you can see that on Instagram, a lot of people hashtag Bussana Vecchia and taking their selfies in front of galleries, buildings, artworks, cats and whatnot. So the history is the main thing that attracts people, the art as well. It has a very beautiful nature as well. It's very, very green because it's in the mountains. It's kind of hard to get to. I had to go there by car and then park the car in the foot of the mountain and then walk upstairs. It does require a little bit of work, so for people with reduced mobility, I wouldn't recommend this place. But if you are young and fit or normal and fit and can walk, there is no problem. You can walk on the rocky roads. That is the same rocky road that the ancestors had stepped on it in the medieval era. So it's very, very cute, and you can see the buildings is very, very well preserved. The preservation really surprised me because I'm from a very historic town, Beijing, that's my hometown, and it's very historic as well, but it was not so well preserved because people wanted to develop, to do new things and build more buildings, and because of that, a lot of historic sites were destroyed. But Bussana Vecchia was on the contrary. I see that there were no new things. All the buildings were like very, very beaten down, beaten up, and however you describe it, you can see that in the pictures. The walls are cracked and it's like ruins, but that's the real beauty because it's the exact same building as it was in the late 19th century. And of course, there are a lot of artists' artworks. You can see the hidden artworks everywhere. Some artworks are disguised between the rocks as one of them. Little details are it just made you smile. And also, if you're a cat lover, you see a lot of cats and they are very dominant. I would say they're not afraid of you. They see that tourists has treated them well, so they take advantage of their liberty and they would come for cherish, sometimes for some snacks, because the artists are feeding the cat, so they definitely are not starving at all. And it's just a beautiful life that they are living. And you can see the harmony between the animals and human, between the old buildings and the new art inside, and also the tourism and the locals. Well, I would say artists are locals today as they have been there for such a long time. And overall, it's a very nice ambient. If you are an artist who loves nature, who loves cats, loves the tranquility in the mountainside surrounded by trees, it is a paradise for you, and you will be able to live there and create and sell your art to tourists, to passersby, and it's just a very beautiful lifestyle to live. And now, before jumping into the idea of going to an artist village like this, because every country has one like this. In southern France, it is the Saint-Paul-de-Vence, which is another artist village occupied by lots of artists and galleries. I think there are more galleries per square meter than any other place in the world. And also in Beijing, you have 7 and 8, Dashanzi, Caozhangdi, Dagao, and Songzhuang. There are a lot of artist villages and communities like that. But I do have to tell you some disadvantages so that you are warned and you know what are the realities you'll be facing when you enter an artist village like this. The first thing I would like to mention is the heavy loads of tourists. This is a no-brainer because you are in a touristic place and they would rush into your studio, take selfies, and then rush out. Maybe they're not even interested in your art because they're interested in the experience of visiting the place and sharing their pictures on their social media. So you have to have some levels of tolerance, and you can say, okay, I'll talk to waves of tourists. It doesn't bother me. You can reserve some of your time for creation, some of your time for attending your public. And I guess for some artists, living in a touristic place is unbearable. For some others, it is like fine. So you have to decide for yourself if this is something that is good for you. The second thing is they would shop souvenirs instead of your art. Because they're visiting this place for what it is, they would likely to buy some little magnets of cats, of the cathedrals, of the mountains, of the landscape. They will not really know who you are, what you do, because they know you are just an artist in Bussana Vecchia. They might not be interested in buying your art because you have maybe a distinctive style that is not like the Bussana style. If you would like to sell your art, you better offer something that is more close to a souvenir. And if this is something you are willing to do, like create a series of painting of Bussana Vecchia, of Mediterranean Sea or Italy or cats, and then sell them as art prints, postcards, if you're willing to do that, that's great. If you try to sell your original works of art that is completely has nothing to do with the local, the town, for thousands of dollars, it's enormously difficult because it's not kind of clientele that the town attracts, that you would like to attract too. So you have to get them yourself using some online tools instead of relying on the town's reputation to bring clients for you. Number 3, you have to face very difficult seasons because seasonality is the same for every kind of tourist towns, not only Bussana Vecchia, San Remo, but every other Mediterranean town will face heavy seasonality. So in the summers, it's very, very good, and then the business will drop as the weather gets colder and colder, and then very long, harsh winters. Then in May, it pick up again. It's like this for every place. So you have to make sure that you can manage the cash flow for the low seasons, for the long winters, and you have the financial means to support yourself through that time until the next season, and then you can make a lot more money during the summers. You have to be ready not only financially but also mentally. Imagine you're painting for hours and days and months and nobody comes in to buy your work. You can feel very frustrated. But don't worry, in the summer the things will change 180 degrees and you will be overwhelmed by amount of tourists. I live in a Mediterranean town as well, so trust me on that. It's very seasonal, so you have to be ready if you live and work in a touristic place. last but not the least, the rent will pick up at some point. Maybe in the 60s it was free, but in the 80s it gets expensive, and now it's like enormously expensive to be a part of this community. I cannot tell you the price to rent a gallery studio in Bussana Vecchia, but I can tell you how much does it cost to buy one, because the prices between the rental and the purchase price are very much linked and correlated. So you can see that the prices to purchase a place in the old beaten house made of mud and dirt and rocks is as much as purchasing an apartment in the suburbs of Paris or nearby towns of Paris. This is not exactly a surprise, because it makes sense, because everybody wants to come here now, and it becomes enormously difficult to secure a spot and also to purchase a place, and the rent eventually will pick up. Even right now you have found just a place that is cheap. It has happened in 798 in Beijing. The prices grow so much higher, and most of the artists today are no longer there, and only the galleries and businesses are there because artists could not afford the high rent. My personal advice to artists who are dreaming about living and working in an artist village like this, my advice would be: make your own communication, grow your own influence and your brand, because you are not just an artist in Bussana Vecchia. You are a part of it now, but you'll not be a part of it forever, because the price will grow, because one day it will not be convenient for you anymore, or maybe you grow out of it, you grow bigger and it's not suitable anymore. So make sure that you have your own communication, website, social media, you talk to the people and keep their data such as emails, and grow your mailing list this way. And one day, if you have to move due to high prices or due to whatever personal reasons, you can keep your brand and continue to grow and sell your art, and it won't ruin your career and your brand just because you changed the place a few blocks, a few kilometers down the road, right? So that is my advice. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video and you have liked this town. If you like to visit, make sure you don't go there before 12, because we went there a little early, and until 1 p.m. nobody ever got up, and it was just like kind of a sleepy town, and it feels like 9 a.m. when it was actually 12, and even the restaurants and cafes weren't available to serve lunch until like way later. It was kind of funny to see the slow life of Bussana Vecchia. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscription if you have not yet, so that you don't miss the upcoming videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Say goodbye.